Next up at UFC Singapore, we have Kenan Song taking on Rolando Bedoya. Kenan Song, 19-7 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Ian Gary. He's taking on Rolando Bedoya. This kid's 14-2 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He is coming off that close loss to Chaos Williams in his UFC debut. And Kenan Song is insanely powerful. He's got terrible wrestling, but very, very heavy hands. He has one-punch power. There's not the cleanest technique, though. You can beat him with pressure and control, but if you give him any space, he's going to throw big, he's going to touch you up. His takedown defense is not very good, but he stays composed, he works back to his feet, and then that's where he's most comfortable. I mentioned that loss to Ian Gary, but if you remember, Ian Gary was 98% out cold. He dropped Ian. He could have finished that fight. He could have beaten Ian Gary, taken all the hype away, done all the things, except he decided to grapple. He had that dude down and out, and if he pounced and threw a bunch more punches, that referee absolutely was going to stop that fight. But instead, he decided to grapple. It gave Ian his wits about him again, and then he was able to go back to the corner, sit on the stool, and reset. Point being, Kenan Song has that one-punch power, but very low fight IQ. He's taking on Rolando Bedoya. This kid's an in-and-out striker. He's got lots of movement, lots of variety with his strikes. He's going to work in kicks and combinations. He does seem to lack that same one-punch raw knockout power that Kenan Song has, but he'll hit the volume, he'll keep coming forward, and he never throws just one strike at a time. And that's how he stays ahead in a lot of these scorecards. I mentioned he's coming off that loss to Chaos Williams. He showcased his chin, and he was able to connect with a couple of his own unorthodox strikes. He had a solid jab. He was constantly working forward, and he lit up Chaos's legs. I like Rolando Bedoya here. I have a parlay with him. I'll tell you the other side when I get to the other side. And he's one of my more confident picks on the card, but this is such a weird card. It's like 292 where it seems very straightforward, but the betting spots are tricky. I saw a lot of people lose money at UFC 292, which was predominantly a favorite heavy card. People lost money chasing underdogs, and then other people lost money getting way too specific. Fights went to decision that they didn't think would, or, and going crazy like that. This feels like one of those cards. I do trust most of the favorites to get it done. I do like Rolando Bedoya to get it done here. A lot of people talking inside the distance, under 2.5. I went straight just money line parlay, but I am confident that he will get it done, but I'm not going to go crazy, right? He's not going to be in a 10-leg parlay. Like, I'm not going to go wild because at the end of the day, he doesn't have a win yet in the UFC. Tough UFC debut, but he's still winless. But I'll give you the other half of this parlay when I get there. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I don't really disagree with anything you said this time. So, job well done there. It's nice to get a good breakdown from me from one time. Rolando is, he is the definition of shoot the box. He trains how to shoot the box, and he is that guy that just stands tall, a very, very good, precise striker. But as those shoot the box people do, they all get hit. And this kid gets hit. He shrugs it off, and they talked about it in that Chaos fight that he rolls with stuff pretty well, so it's hard to hit him solid. But, you got to imagine at some point he's going to run into somebody with that raw power that's going to put his lights out. And it's kind of surprising that it wasn't Chaos, because Chaos is kind of that guy. But Chaos was kind of more looping and stuff, so it was kind of just glancing shots. Kenan Song, I don't think he's that guy either, because in his striking, his power shot is that left hook, which put Ian out. And the way that Rolando is able to roll with shots, I just don't see that being able to land as flush as it did with Ian. Ian definitely made a mistake, hung in the pocket, just kind of stood there. With Rolando, he's constantly moving. He's constantly moving around. He's throwing counter strikes back. So I think he should be able to kind of dominate this matchup. This should be a striking matchup for the most part. And Rolando should be able to dominate. He is the better striker in this matchup. I'm going to be worried a little bit because he does get hit. But, he's a minus 300 favorite for a reason. We'll see. This is a good matchup to see if he's kind of the real deal or not, because if this is a close fight, I don't think this should be a close fight. You should be able to kind of pick Song apart. Again, I agree with you. I don't think that's going to be an inside the distance play. I got a little bit more specific than just the money line, but it's one of those lines that I like playing. We hit him twice. We hit Natalia last week, got even better value. Ian Gary the same way. It's kind of like the money line, but it plays a little bit different. Premium members know what that is, and I'm riding with my boy Rolando, man.
Bedoya. Yeah, and I'll probably spend the $9,200 in DraftKings. I'll have to look at how he scored against Chaos Williams and then extrapolate from there. But and he may not be worth it at all. So I should probably look at that a little closer before I say that. But because he does have insane volume. Like if we come back here, 9.93 significant strikes landed per minute. Yeah, he gets touched, 8.67, but he's landing almost 10 significant strikes per minute. That fight went. That wasn't a fight that, sometimes you'll get wild numbers like this in a fight that ends in like 2 minutes because they extrapolate the numbers out. No, this fight was not a 2-minute long fight. So he is just throwing that insane volume, and that does score well. That scores especially well in FanDuel.
And I was going to say, what's crazy about this is Chaos in that fight threw 283 shots, landed 45% of them, which is 130. Rolando only threw 209 significant strikes, but landed 149. He landed 71% of his significant strikes. That's a high fucking number.
And Blunt Magic is saying he scored 65 points in a loss, which is, without wrestling, is insane. So, he may end up being worth this 92. You add 30 points to that.
He threw 80 less strikes and landed 20 more
fewer
than Chaos.
It's fewer. Let me give you a little bit of the correct education here. It's fewer, not less.
No, it was
quantity.
less.
Quantity is fewer. Volume is less.
No, it literally is the volume of his strikes. It was less.
No, that's fewer because that's quantity of strikes.
No, it was the volume. I was talking. I'm sorry that you misunderstood because you're not on that high. I'm sorry that you misunderstood because you're not that high level. But I was talking about the volume of strikes. I didn't care about the number.
There is less water.
I say the volume of his strikes was less.
Okay, you're not going to pretend that your Midwest education is correct here. The volume of water in this is less than this. The number of strikes that he threw was fewer.
The volume
than
of his strikes
threw.
was less, is what I was saying. Okay. I think everyone in the chat will agree with me.
Yeah, because this is the most enlightened group of people.
Wow, you hear how he talks about you guys? Who was right in this instance? Let's just put it to a vote real quick. Go ahead, in the chat.
Put up a poll.
We already got a poll up. Just tell him to like the stream. You haven't liked the stream now. I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, let's see those hands, boys. Anyway, we're both on the same side here. I will probably, I don't know. We'll take a look if I throw him in DraftKings or not. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's only $10 a month, and maybe we'll throw up some of those little educational tidbits. Get you going.